Good evening, everybody. Is this on? It is? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Escondido City Council. Now it's on. Before we move on to the moment of reflection and flag salute, I just want to say Happy New Year. Thank you for coming. 2026 is going to be a banger for the city of Escondido. So please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Yes, please join me in a moment of reflection. We come together tonight to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to serve here in the city of Escondido. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community of backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek guidance, wisdom, and discernment during deliberations that transpire this evening. In doing so, we lift up Councilmember Fitzgerald, Councilmember Martinez, Councilmember Christian Garcia, Deputy Mayor Joe Garcia, and Mayor White. May they be granted peace and wisdom as they lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. Amen.
All right, thank you. This meeting is now called to order. We'll do a quick roll call. Councilmember Fitzgerald. Councilmember Martinez.
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Joe Garcia.
Present.
And I, Mayor White, am here. Do we have any non-agenda public comments tonight?
Nice.
Okay, then we'll move on to the consent calendar. There's no recognitions or anything? Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Tonight, items 1 through 7 are on consent. And unless somebody wants to pull, I would ask for a motion to approve that.
I'll motion to approve.
Perfect. If there are no other comments, please vote. That's all we can do. We'll move on to item number 8, which is the CDBG and home overview. And the time is yours.
Block grant, and Norma Olkeen, Management Analyst overseeing the HOME program, or Home Investment Partnership program. Tonight we'll be providing a presentation on our CDBG and HOME programs. Today's agenda will include a review of the new timeline for CDBG and HOME Annual Action Plan process, an overview of what CDBG and HOME are, and accomplishments over the last consolidated plan period, which are 2020 through 2025, and then next steps. The purpose of today's presentation is to provide general information on the CDBG and HOME programs and to provide the timeline. The purpose of for the senior rental subsidy and first-time homebuyer programs. That item will come before the council in a public hearing on January 28th. Following that, there will be a 30-day public comment period in February and a second public hearing approving the substantial amendment and submittal to HUD on March 11th. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dulcich to go over the CDBG program.
The city of Escondido is considered an entitlement jurisdiction and receives an annual allocation from HUD for the operations of its CDBG and home program. The funding is determined by a formula based on population, age of rental units in the city, and poverty levels. The home formula prioritizes jurisdictions with high poverty rates and inadequate rental housing stock. Cities can administer CDBG and home funds themselves, or they can designate public agencies or nonprofit organizations to administer all or part of the CDBG and home programs on their behalf. This is a map of the CDBG eligible census tracts. While funds can be spent specifically on income qualified people anywhere, many of our projects occur in low to mod areas, or census blocks where more than 50% of the residents earn less than 80% of the area median income. Currently, that is equal to a family of four earning less than $132,400. The yellow areas of this map define Escondido's low mod areas. As a recipient of CDBG and home federal funds, the city is required to submit a 5-year consolidated plan, an annual action plan that is required for each year of the consolidated plan period, and a consolidated annual performance and evaluation report paper to monitor its progress, outcomes, and expenditures for the program year. The consolidated plan and the action plan identify the community's housing needs and describe in detail how CDBG, home, and other HUD block grant funds will be used to meet those needs. In the next few slides, we will discuss what is in our current action plan. This slide shows a breakdown of the city's current year federal funding across the CDBG and home programs. The city of Escondido receives community development block grant funds which support a wide range of community development activities, including public services and public facilities and infrastructure improvements. The city also receives home investment partnership program funds, which are used specifically for affordable housing-related activities. For the current program year, the city received 1.3 in CDBG funding and 590 in home funding. As shown on the current chart, CDBG represents the larger share of the federal funding, while home is a more targeted and focused solely on housing. Emergency solution grant funds are intended to support homelessness-related activities. The city does not anticipate receiving ESG funding for the 2026 to 2027 fiscal year and has not received ESG funding in the past 4 years. Together, these programs allow the city to address both housing needs and broader community development priorities. Based on the community needs assessment and public participation, CDBG and home priorities were identified and adopted as part of the fiscal year 2025 to 2029 5-year consolidated plan. The current priorities are: number 1, support affordable rental and homeowner opportunities; 2, expand access to supportive services to prevent and reduce homelessness; 3, promote safe and healthy communities; and 4, deliver essential public services. Each year, at the first public hearing, prior to the adoption of the 1-year action plan, Council is asked to review and reaffirm these priorities and may choose to adopt changes at that time. That public hearing will be held on February 18th. This is a snapshot of what we funded in fiscal year 2025-2026. As you can see, we fund our administration, public services, and capital projects. What is the program? The CDBG program. The Community Development Block Grant CDBG Entitlement Program provides annual grants to the cities and counties to develop viable urban communities by providing decent housing and a suitable living environment. opportunities for low to moderate income persons. CDBG can be used to carry out a wide range of community development activities directed towards revitalizing neighborhoods, economic development, and providing improved community and facilities and services. In addition to the programs and projects meeting one of the identified priorities, CDBG funded activities must fulfill at least one of the three national objectives set forth by HUD. Number one, benefit low and moderate income persons. LMI is defined as those persons and households who earn at or below 80% of the area median income. Two, aid in the elimination of slum and blight. Or three, meet a particular urban community need because existing conditions pose serious threats and no other source of funding is available. This national objective is rare and is designated only for activities that alleviate emergency conditions such as fires, floods, or earthquakes. The first national objective of benefiting low and moderate income persons is often referred to as the primary national objective. Historically, CDBG funded activities in the city have focused on this. This slide shows how CDBG can be used to carry out a wide range of community development activities, such as construction of public facilities, public services, and economic development. In these eligible expenses, we typically fund public services and improvement to facilities. CDBG regulations place limitations on the amount of funding grantees may use for administration of public services. There is no cap on the percentage of a grantee's annual CDBG allocation that may be used for capital projects in low to moderate income neighborhoods. No more than 15% of the grantee's annual CDBG allocation may be used for public service activities, and no more than 20% of the grantee's annual CDBG allocation may be used for program administration. It is important to note that federal funds must not be used to supplant general fund spending, and all funded projects must meet one of the national objectives, serve and benefit low to moderate income individuals or areas, and work towards accomplishing a goal in the consolidated plan. Traditionally, the city has set aside the maximum allowable 20% of the funds for administrative costs. This pays for the neighborhood services staff and operating budget specific to CDBG. Again, for the allocation process, we will be coming back for your approval at the February meeting. The city has also allocated the maximum 15% which can be allocated to public services. These public service projects are programs estimated to meet our CDBG priorities and can be operated by the city or a nonprofit. These things such as Alabaster Jar, Mom's Kitchen, Fair Housing Services, and Palomar Family Housing Services. The rest of the funds are spent on capital improvement and neighborhood revitalization. These are projects that make a physical difference in our community. Now I'll turn it over to Mark.
Good afternoon. I will be going over the Home Investment Partnership Program. The Home Investment Partnership Program, or simply HOME, is HUD's largest program dedicated to creating affordable housing. HUD allocates home funds to states and local governments by formula each year. The purpose is to strengthen partnerships between government and nonprofit or private developers so communities can expand the supply of safe, decent, and affordable housing. The program is especially focused on serving very low-income families and individuals. Home funds are restricted to four main categories. First, rental housing. Home is commonly used here for acquiring land or property, building new affordable housing, or rehabilitating existing rental units. Second, we have homeowner rehabilitation. These funds can be used to repair or rehabilitate owner-occupied homes, often for families who otherwise couldn't afford the work. Third, tenant-based rental assistance, or TIRA. This program looks similar to Section 8 vouchers, but it's locally controlled and provides direct rental assistance to income-eligible households. And fourth, we have home buyer activities. This includes assistance like down payments, closing costs, or development of homes that will be sold to income-eligible buyers. These categories and requirements keep home funds focused on their purpose, creating, preserving, and supporting affordable housing funding. For program year 2025-2026, the city of Escondido received about $590,000 in home funds. Federal regulations require this allocation to be divided into three main components. First is administration, which is capped at 10% of the total home allocation. These funds support program administration, including staff time, professional services, and contracts needed to manage, monitor, and oversee the home program in compliance with federal requirements. Second is total set aside. At least 50% of the annual home allocation must be invested in certified community housing development organizations. These funds support nonprofit housing developers such as Habitat for Humanity or community housing works to focus on creating and preserving affordable housing within the community. The remaining 75% of home allocation is available for housing activities. These funds may be used for eligible housing programs such as affordable housing development, rehabilitation, and first-time home buyers assistance. This allocation structure ensures home funds balance required federal set-asides with direct investment into housing activities that benefit income-eligible households in Escondido. It is important to note that HUD does set rules on what home funds can now be used for. On this slide, you'll see a list of ineligible expenses, but I'll go ahead and read out a few. Home cannot pay for everyday bills like operating costs or utilities. It cannot be used to replace the federal Section 8 voucher program, and it cannot be used to meet matching requirements for other federal programs. The important point to remember is HUD provides a specific list of eligible activities. If a project or expense is not on that list, then it is not eligible. It is not wise to try to make something fit if HUD has not already approved it. HUD sets these rules to make sure funds are used only for eligible housing activities. This slide provides an overview of the basic compliance and monitoring requirements that apply to both CDBG and home programs. Federal regulations require the city to monitor how funds are used, the results of funded activities to ensure they support eligible uses, and benefit the community. Each program also includes specific regulatory and timing requirements. The city is responsible for tracking commitments, expenditures, and deadlines to ensure funds are used within required timeframes. Record keeping is another foundational requirement. The city must maintain documentation that demonstrates program eligibility, compliance, and the appropriate use of federal funds across all funded activities. Before any funds are released, the city enters into written agreements with funded partners. These agreements outline the scope of work, applicable program requirements, compliance responsibilities, and serve as the framework for how funds may be used. On-site inspections are also a standard requirement under both programs. These inspections help verify that assisted projects meet physical standards and that funded activities remain compliant over time based on the type of assistance provided. These requirements help ensure transparency, accountability, and responsible stewardship of federal funds while supporting the successful implementation of CDBG and home-funded activities in the community. This slide here focuses on additional oversight requirements that are specific to the home program only. Because home funds are tied to long-term affordability, home-assisted projects are subject to additional and ongoing monitoring requirements. For home-assisted units, the city is responsible for confirming that signed leases are in place and that those leases meet federal program requirements. The city also monitors rent limits, income eligibility, and lease compliance on an ongoing basis to ensure units remain affordable to income-eligible households throughout the affordability period. Home includes federal tenant protections that must be enforced. This includes required tenant notices and restrictions related to evictions for home-assisted units. Compliance obligations under the home program are strict and continue throughout the affordability period. These requirements do not end when construction is completed or funds are distributed and can remain in effect for years depending on the project. If a home-assisted project becomes non-compliant and the issue is not resolved, federal regulations may require repayment of home funds to HUD, even if the non-compliance occurs years after the initial funding. In addition to on-site inspection, property owners must complete annual affordability certification. The city tracks this information to a third-party reporting system called Focus. Focus is used to collect annual reporting and monitoring affordability compliance across multiple federal and state housing programs, helping ensure projects remain compliant throughout the full life cycle of the home agreement. These additional requirements help ensure long-term affordability, tenant protections, and ongoing program compliance for home-assisted projects. Now I'll turn it over to Lisa to go over CDBG accomplishments.
Here on the next few slides, we will briefly review our accomplishments over the past 5 years. CDBG funding was used to make significant investments and improvements to infrastructure, neighborhood revitalization, and public services. Before we move on with specific accomplishments, there's a few things I'd like to go over. The numbers provided here are 5-year numbers. With that said, not all programs are funded every year. Some of the programs were funded for several years and some were funded only once. So if some numbers seem very high versus others, that is fine. We did not include the years that each of these organizations were funded on the slides that you are about to see. But if you would like to see those details, they are in the attachment to your staff report. The second thing I want to point out about these numbers is that HUD requires us to report only unduplicated accomplishments annually. Duplicated data means that the individual receiving a service is only counted once, no matter how many times they receive that service, versus duplicated data, which counts that instance, every instance the service is received. So what that means to these numbers is each year a senior that is receiving a meal daily will be counted once. However, that person may be counted up to 5 times over the course of the 5-year period if they receive the service over multiple years. Moving forward, we'll be working towards being more transparent regarding sophisticated goals, performance indicators, and accomplishments. We will be providing this information on our website annually for each subrecipient, so it will be a lot easier to understand. Now we will get into the accomplishments in each priority area. Here we have the organizations that have served seniors in our community over the past 5 years. Meals on Wheels, Mommy's Kitchen, Senior Transportation, Senior Nutrition, Senior Cares, and the Knox Box Pilot Program. This fiscal year, we are currently funding Mama's Kitchen and Senior Cares. Again, if you'd like more information on what specific years these programs were funded, you can find that information in the attachment to your staff report, or let us know and we would be happy to provide additional information. Here we have the organizations that have served youth in our community over the last 5 years. San Diego Discovery Museum, San Marcos Promise, Voices for Children, Palomar Family Counseling, Global Recreation, and Learn to Swim. This fiscal year, we are currently funding San Marcos Promise, Palomar Family Counseling, and Global Recreation. Next, we have the organizations that have provided homeless services. Interfaith Winter Shelter, Interfaith Homeless Prevention, Operation Hope, Center for Community Solutions, and Alabaster Church. This fiscal year, we are currently funding Operation Hope and Alabaster Church. On this slide, we have economic development. This fiscal year, we continue to fund Upward. This program helps expand economic opportunities for approximately 39 income-family childcare providers in Escondido by training them on how to use essential tools to make their business operation more efficient. The program will increase providers' income, expand the provider's capacity to serve more children, and create 12 new jobs. Next, we have the organization that has provided fair housing services to the residents of Escondido. This fiscal year, we continue to fund Legal Aid Society of San Diego. As a condition of receiving HUD funds, the city is required to provide these fair housing services. On this slide, we have organizations that have provided neighborhood revitalization activities in our neighborhoods. This fiscal year, we are currently funding neighborhood cleanups and project committee. And last, we have our capital projects broken down by internal subrecipients and external subrecipients. Most recently, we completed Washington
2 of the 4 eligible home activities. Those include rental housing and home buyer assistance. Each request for proposal is structured to create long-term affordable housing opportunities through qualified developers, including nonprofit organizations, for-profit corporations, and certified housing community development organizations. The city awarded $1 million in home funds to San Diego Habitat for Humanity for what became the El Norte Home Project, located at 245 East El Norte Parkway. The project created 10 new affordable for-sale homes, each supported with $100,000 in home assistance. That assistance helped reduce the purchase price and made the home sustainable for low-income, first-time home buyers. Following that success, the city awarded $4 million to National Corp for the development of Valley Senior Village, located at 337 East Valley Parkway. Valley Senior Village is a 50-unit affordable senior community serving residents aged 62 and older. 25 units were designated as permanent supportive housing for formerly homeless seniors, and the remaining 25 units provided equally affordable rental housing for other low-income seniors in our community. Another program is the First-Time Home Buyers Program. Today, the city manages about 120 active home loans. Loan amounts range from $3,000 to $25,000, and they can be used for down payments or closing cost assistance. In the last 5 years, the city has issued 4 first-time home buyer loans. That includes 1 in 2024 and 1 in 2025. Lastly, this slide highlights another one of our 2 ongoing programs that are currently funded with home resources. The Senior Rental Subsidy Program. This program currently provides monthly rental assistance to senior households. It is budgeted at $72,000 a year, which can support 30 seniors at $200 monthly. As a reminder, we will be coming back on January 28th to provide the First-Time Home Buyers Program and the Senior Rental Subsidy Program. In this slide, you can see the next steps for the fiscal year 2026-2027 action plan process. In February, we will hold the first public hearings for both CDBG and homes. In March, the city will release the CDBG request for proposal. During the month of April, staff will review all submitted applications and prepare funding recommendations for council consideration. In April and May, there will be a 30-day public review and comment period for the draft 2026 to 2027 action plan. In May, we will return to council for the second public hearing for CDBG, followed by the second public hearing for home in June. Following these steps, the final action plan will be submitted to MEC for review and approval. That concludes our presentation. We are here to answer any questions you may have.
We have public comments?
We do.
All right.
First is Richard Cannon. Yes.
Hi everyone, AD City Council members, my name is Richard. I've been an Escondido resident for about the past 4 years and happy to be here today to provide comments and public feedback on how we can most effectively use the remaining home funds so they're not returned back to HUD in advance of the upcoming public sessions. If I understand correctly, there's about $350,000 in federal housing funds that'll be returned to HUD this September if we don't use them effectively. And as shown a little bit earlier, most of that assistance is focused on senior rental assistance and first-time homebuyer assistance. In my opinion, and the opinion of many other Escondido residents, we have an opportunity to expand the available use of those funds to beyond that as well. Excuse me. By identifying and supporting vulnerable residents that are on the cusp of losing housing and providing targeted, time-bound, limited rental assistance, you can more effectively keep people in their housing and reduce homelessness. So beyond the subsidies for seniors, we're asking that people consider expanding that to also low-income and people who need housing assistance regardless of their senior status. By working with existing partners, you can identify people who are in transitional housing and need assistance getting into more permanent housing, also effectively using those funds to effectively, being able to house people. And then based on what was said earlier, the focus of the Home Investment Partnership Program is to expand the supply of decent, safe, and sanitary, affordable housing and with primary attention to rental housing. So effectively, the best use of these funds are going to be making sure that we're using this for rental assistant housing, not just for seniors, but for people who are at risk of losing their housing, so they prevent them from becoming homeless, or people who are homeless and making sure they get into permanent supportive housing. So, quick examples, down payment for single-family homes could require a lot of money. You're looking at tens of thousands of dollars, or you can serve a lot more families with rental assistance, keeping them in housing. So we want to make sure that we're using these funds effectively. The spirit of these funds is to help house people. Right now, we have residents on the edge, one unexpected expense away from losing their homes. We have families in transitional housing searching for permanent stability. These are the people that home funds should be reaching. I urge you to allow these dollars to be used towards rental assistance for all income qualified residents, not just those who are seniors, and to partner with organizations like Interfaith and others who are already working with these vulnerable housing people who are vulnerable to losing their housing or trying to get back into housing. Let's not return this money to HUD. Let's use it where it's needed most here in Escondido. Thank you.
Rick, did you want to speak? Rick, Paul, did you want? You're past? Perfect. All right. Victoria, you're more than welcome to come. And as you come up, I want to apologize again for the technical issues with the sound. Obviously, some of the sound's being restored. The team in the back is working on it, and I do apologize to staff for not being able to be heard during that time, and for anyone's ears who's still hurt. I apologize for that. Victoria.
Hi. I usually have to lower it. It was low. So thank you for, I actually first want to say I really appreciate the detail that everybody's gone into in thinking about this. I know that this is a complicated program. It has lots of different facets, and it can be confusing and hard to think about and easy just to say, I don't want to think about it. So I really do appreciate the detail that everybody's gone into. But, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse because I keep bringing this up, but it gives me a little bit of anxiety to think that we're just going to continue to do what we've been doing with these funds, just on a bigger scale when that hasn't been working to spend the funds, specifically with the first-time homebuyer program. From personal experience, I've been a real estate broker. I've worked with lenders and clients who have tried to specifically use these funds, and one of the problems with this program is it's not really that people don't know about it. It's the people that qualify for this program do not qualify for enough money to make it worthwhile to buy a home. And so I'm not sure if it's an either-or situation where you have to commit the funds to first-time home buyer or the rental. I'm seeing that it might not be. So that's good. I would really my hope is that we can expand this program to not just serve as seniors, and not just on a flat rate basis, but to incorporate more families and people that are at risk of or experiencing homelessness. And I know we're going to have conversations about that, but I like to get ahead of that and maybe get our mindset in that so that we can think about putting this money to service for Escondido residents that really need this. Because it is a hard time for a lot of people. Thank you.
No further public comments.
All right. Thank you for the presentation and for the comments. What feedback specifically are you looking for today?
So I'll jump in a little bit. This is to get council to start thinking about this extended process so that your opportunity to provide direction on the solicitation is coming in February. So tonight is purely information to begin to think about, are you going to continue with the action plan? Do you want amendment? As staff noted, there is an opportunity to do a focus area, right, with the solicitation. So if you were to choose to focus on a particular category to support, those are things that you could elect to do because that's going to affect the solicitation when the solicitation goes out for proposals the following. So this is purely to start that process with the new year. We've backed up the timetable to provide some avenue for those inputs. So tonight is simply for informational purposes. As was noted, we will come back with a specific adjustments that council asked for back October in the home program to expand later this month to expand the resource available for rental assistance and first-time home buyer. But that will be handled. That amendment was put into action back last year, and the amendment process will happen. But this is this year's process, and this is simply to allow you to think about what directions you may want us to take when we come back for direction in February.
Okay, perfect. Question on our last amendment. Is it too late to amend our amendment that we had amend the direction we had given you? And the only reason I ask is because some of these public comments make a lot of sense. Maybe not putting so much money in the first-time home buyers thing, seeing as we only had one applicant this year and last year. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, then I'll turn the time over to the council. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. As always, you guys do amazing work. I'll make this short. To Richard's point, and I think to Victoria's point, you know, I had the same notes. I think I want to just see how many people in Escondido became homeless or are on the edge of homelessness. If we could have a solid number next time. I want to see the demographics of them as well, seeing, you know, who it is that the affected population. And then, as just stated right now, I am curious to see why a little bit more detail of why the number of the first-time home buyers and how much money is left over. Just a little bit more details on that, and I think that's it for me. So thank you again so much, and thank you for the public comments.
Thanks for the presentation. I would like to ask about the senior program. There was a mention, I think it was you, Naomi, that mentioned about the senior subsidy program has 72,000 available, and it's meant to help how many seniors? How many? 30 seniors, okay. And then we started that last year, right? The senior rental subsidy program. Do we have any data on that by chance, the senior subsidy program?
So again, I don't want to, there are two things going on. Next time we'll have a more complete report on your amendment process. Today was more informational. What I will say is you've been doing the funding of this rental subsidy for a long period of time. The request was last October to increase that funding amount.
Right.
We can bring back some of that more of that data that
Okay.
you're looking for at that meeting.
Perfect. Yes, I would like to see data around that because I am open to expanding that to not just be seniors because there is a need across the board in our community for rental assistance, and I do want to see funds being used to help the most amount of people. And I have for years talked about the first-time home buyer program for many years until until 2024, I believe. And maybe we had one during the period of 2025 or 2024. We didn't have for years. We had 0 people who used the first-time home buyer program. And really, there's a flaw there in how the formula is calculated at the federal level. And it's something that I've been saying that we need to talk to our federal lobbyists about having a conversation about changing that formula because that formula just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense with the high cost of housing, but government hasn't caught up with that yet. So in that case, I'd rather just focus the funds, not focus on the first-time home buyer right now because we are in a really difficult housing market anyway, and explore where else that funds could be used. So I'm very open and leaning that way on that. And then I noticed that we helped legal aid, so I'd like to also see for the next time that you come back, I think in February, some statistics about how the legal aid, you know, what are the trends they're seeing? Because I know they receive a lot of, they're our fair housing contractor, so kind of what calls are they getting? And I know they collect that data on a monthly basis, but they don't actually share it unless we ask. So I'd like to get that information the next time you come up. That would be helpful. So yeah, and thank you to the community for engaging, and in anything, and then I appreciate this expanded timeline for us to have this conversation now instead of in March, so thank you. I appreciate that you're doing that, because the earlier we can have the conversations, the more we could have to think about where the best use of this funds are. And then really listening to the community and hearing what they have to say, and that we actually have time to, when we ask them for input, that we actually have time to implement some of their ideas, and I feel like we don't always get that because the timelines just don't work out, right? But I do think we need to think a little more outside the box, be more creative about helping more people in need, and not do the same exact, things that we've been doing. So I'm looking forward to the future conversations on this topic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Danielle, Dulce, and Norma. Let's see, if we could go to, actually, I want to start off by thanking the speakers, those that came up for public comment, Richard, Victoria, and I also want to thank two people that sent in emails, Laura Hunter and Lisa Richards. And it really, their concerns really are aligned with what I'm hearing a lot of and what we're thinking here. So Dulce or Norma, who was speaking about the dollar amount for the family of 4? Is it Dulce or was it? So one of the things here, and I'm just saying this out loud because you did answer this. So one of the concerns that was echoed was expanding the rental assistance beyond seniors to include all income qualified individuals and families. So it looks like that's one of the objectives. I think that is maybe on page 13, if you could turn there. Because I know there's a lot of information and sometimes things, so benefit persons with low to moderate income. So families are also included with the seniors under that. Is that correct? That's what I understood. Okay, thank you. So those that were concerned, I just want to make sure that you get the answer that those families are included with the seniors. And we know it's important. And then also, partnering with local service providers such as Interfaith, et cetera. It looks like we're going to continue to do that. And again, public input is very helpful. And so basically, the using home funds for rental assistance, expanding the beyond senior, structuring rental assistance based on household income, and partnering with local service providers. All that was addressed. So I thank you for that, and thank you for the public comments and the emails, because we care that you're watching or looking out for the people in our community. If we could go to page 14, or slide 14. So on the bottom it says provision of assistance to businesses to carry out economic development and job creation retention activities, which I think is very helpful. With that, again, we're looking at economic development and serving those in our community who are interested in opening businesses, starting businesses. I would just like to put out there that I really think it's important for us to partner with organizations, local organizations that do support businesses. We have the Escondido Chamber of Commerce that has a really good reach in that, and a lot of people do go to them, new businesses, to seek guidance. We have San Diego, or SDBC-D, I think it's called, that is North County, but there's one person here specifically in Escondido that I think we should also connect, so we could kind of have that communication. Instead of us having to go out and find those individuals, they can funnel them to us, and the Downtown Business Association as well. And then in addition to that, I think it's important, especially in our Hispanic communities, to really identify who the community leaders are there. It may not generally be in a facility that they meet, but it's word of mouth. It's somebody that can get the information out to them. See who we can identify that would be able to reach out to the communities in the low-income areas that potentially either want the housing or assistance with opening a business that may not otherwise, I can't say that everybody watches these council meetings or goes on our website, but I think the bigger outreach is, who can be the major point of contact that has the biggest impact, biggest outreach for those in our community to be able to have access to that. And that was pretty much it. That was very informative. I appreciate your work. And then I'm assuming at the next one we'll be talking about, or actually, I don't know, I guess as my colleague Deputy Mayor Martinez said that the government hasn't caught up with the cost of housing, because that was one of my concerns. It's like, well, if that's where we're going to get stuck, then let's consider utilizing those funds and just investing it somewhere else while we can. Thank you so much for your presentation. I appreciate you.
All right. Thorough presentation. Thank you very much for that. And as usual, this is, I look forward, since we're going to have an opportunity for later to be able to work on the amendment. I look forward to hearing about the two substantial amendments to the amendment. And I also will chime in and say that I think we do need to expand from the seniors, although one of the reasons, or a number of the reasons why we did focus on the seniors is because of their fixed income. They're very, very, my conversations with them as I had gone to the senior center repeatedly were, I have lost my housing, now I'm renting a room. I moved here from New York, and I'm living here, but I'm about to lose the room that I'm renting now. Those were concerns that I brought forward, and my colleagues saw well that we focus on that. And those are some real reasons why. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't expand further to include other residents here. I would like the stats too on the Legal Aid Society. I think that would be very, very helpful to receive, and any other stats that we have. If I recall correctly, we had a wait list on the seniors, and we increased, as we increased our funds for that. So anyway, thank you very much for your time and bringing this forward. I look and the other thing that I wanted to say is thank you for expanding the time for us to be able to discuss this. I look forward to the community engagement. Please let us know when you're going to have those meetings so we can put it out also on our personal social medias and with our own contacts, because I have plenty of contacts that are not within Escondido, but they have a lot of contacts within Escondido. And the moment that we can discuss the possibility of increasing the opportunities for assistance, there'll be a lot of interest in different communities. So anyway, thank you very much, and that'll conclude my remarks.
All right, thank you. I too appreciate the extra runway this time around, so thank you for that and for the presentation, and to the public commenters. Sounds like, at least I think, we heard you and we're pretty much all on the same page. So look forward to the next meeting where we can tackle this a little bit more. Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on to item 9. Does anybody have anything they want to add to a future agenda? Okay, then I'll kick off the subcommittee reports and other reports just by saying, again, Happy New Year. This holiday season just seemed extra spectacular in the city. I felt like I was at a never-ending stream of bike giveaways and toy giveaways and everything else, and I'm just very proud of the generosity that goes on within this community. So thank you, everybody. Fantastic Christmas parade and everything else. So thank you all for who helped make it as great as it was. Sir?
I'll say ditto to all of that, and just add, we had a homeless subcommittee. Some of you were there with us, and I am happy to mention that we voted to recommend to move forward to full council a discussion on shelter beds, homeless beds for our homeless unhoused population. So I'm looking forward to that coming to the entire council. That'll conclude my remarks.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes, Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. I really don't have anything to report other than I had the opportunity to meet the new the Director of Development Services, Kevin Snyder, and where he shared his vision, his experience, not just an idea person, but a boots on the ground, getting things done kind of person. And I'm really excited for you to see everything that he's going to accomplish with the team that he's been a part of developing here. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Sir?
Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone. Spoke with a couple business owners this past week. They're already excited to get things going this year, so I'm excited for them. I went to a community meeting last week, or I think this past week. On a personal note, just, as New Year comes, just remember to hold on to your loved ones. And thank you to my community for the privilege of serving.
Councilmember?
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. Good to be back. I did take a little bit of time off for the holiday break, had a wonderful holiday break, and it was good to see many of you during that time. This is our first week back, and so no committee meetings this week, but we will have them next week. I did on Christmas Eve have an opportunity, it's a tradition to serve the seniors for a Christmas Eve lunch, and they're so appreciative. There's over 100 seniors that are served at our senior center, and they're always looking for volunteers. If any of you want to volunteer, they love having people there serve them. So I will be seeing them again later this month, but that was a really joyous occasion. And again, just Happy New Year. And I want to welcome Daniel Peterson, our new Utilities Director, and our new Director of Development Services Director, Kevin Snyder. We're excited to have them on board. Really important positions for the city, and I'm just excited to work with them and to have more capacity at the staff level. I know our community will appreciate that as well. Thank you.
City Manager?
Nothing to report.
Fantastic. Do we have any other public comments?
Yes, we do. Becky Rapp?
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Tonight, I wanted to bring to your attention an important new California law, and I did share this with you a couple months ago, but I wanted to bring you this notice stating that it is in effect. It's a new California law that went into effect January 1st, which directly affects tobacco retailers and enforcement at the local level. So this falls under changes to the Cigarette and Tobacco Product Licensing Act. Any business in California that sells or stores cigarettes or tobacco products is now prohibited from processing or selling any marijuana products or any product containing cannabinoids, including the synthetic hemp products like Delta 8 that you see being sold at local tobacco shops. The state is authorized to seize these products and impose civil penalties, including license suspension and revocation. So the California law clearly allows and expects cities to adopt and enforce their own local penalties. So that means Escondido has the authority to impose additional fines, local license suspensions, business permit revocations, and stricter administrative penalties for violations occurring within city limits. So tonight, I ask that at a future meeting, possibly we could direct staff to review the new state law, update Escondido's local ordinance, and prioritize strong local penalty structure. And I will just leave this with the clerk. Thank you.
No further public comments.
Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.